Hey DOOLigans, Mr. DOOLigan here. Welcome to another episode of Dishin with DOOLigan. Now, before I start the show, I want to give a shout out to Miss Annie Goen at Willing Bird on Twitter. She tweeted me last Friday on a little mistake I did last Friday. Hashtag Fact Check Fridays. Hashtag. It was about my show. I was saying that Claire was Sammy's granddaughter, and of course that is not true. She's actually Belle's and Sean's daughter. So she she checked me on that one, and I totally applaud her for that. Thank you for that. It was just I see the blonde hair, straight hair, I automatically go to Sammy. But thank you so much for that, Miss Annie. And so this week was 80's week on days. So let's pop those collars, puff up that 80's hair. This is the best I can do, and let's start the show. So let's see. So today was a Monday show, so we can just start off with that. So it was a little bit slow, but all in all, it had a lot of good information for the show, so it can set up the week. So we started off. We picked up where we left off last week on Friday, where Theo is definitely beating up on Mark on the floor, and he is really laying into him, which is I applaud Theo for that. Because that's definitely not cool what Mark did to Ciara. And so he's just wailing on him until Henry, Ciara's prom date, comes in and pulls him off. And so Mark scurries off and like, I'll get you. Anyways, uh, so of course Theo's messed up his hand, and Theo's Sarah's really shaken up, and so Theo kind of wants to reassure if they're still going to prom together. And of course, Ciara has this look on her face like she's not certain if she wants to go. My first thought on that was that, she better not break Theo's heart because, as everybody knows, Theo's my favorite character on the show. And so we cut off that. Oh, before I continue, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to send out a tweet right now. Just in case if anybody wants to tweet me a question or a comment for the show, I can answer live while I'm recording. So I'm going to be sending that out now. And let's hopefully we get some questions or comments. That'll be something fun. So let's move on. So next we move on to Abe and Lori. It's at the police station, and they're talking about Theo going to prom, and Abe's concerns for him. And Lori kind of like Lonnie kind of reassures him like, he's an adult, he knows what he's doing, just let him have fun. And that's exactly what I said last time. Like, Abe just needs to let up on this. I mean, when he was trying to pop Theo's bubble the other day of last week, telling him, this and this and that about prom and be careful. And it's like, Abe, lay up, all right? It's Theo. He's fine. He's a good guy. And then after we cut to Ciara and Claire, Ciara walks Claire home and drops her off. And then as soon as Ciara walks into the Horton house, she sees the couch where Chase raped her. And of course, like I said last week, she's probably getting all these flashbacks, this PTSD also, about, Chase raping her and about Mark, forcing himself on her. So, that's definitely a perfect scenario how they're making that connection. So she's really freaking out right now. And, in walks in Hope, not obviously not knowing what happened. And she starts noticing that Claire's a little like disconnected. And she talks to her and asks her what's going on. And Claire doesn't really tell her what's going on, but just tell her she's having doubts about going to prom, but not telling her exactly why. Hope is being the mom that she is. And, she tries to reassure Claire and starts talking to her. And then they start, how should I say this? She starts talking to her, and then she actually like tries to bring up little quotes. We get a quote from Grandma Julia. She tells her to be on her own side. So basically she's telling her, it doesn't matter what people say. If you have to go to prom, have to make yourself happy, you do what you got to do when you're ready. And I think that's great advice. Nobody can tell you to get over it. No one can tell you to move on. I mean, it comes when your time is ready. And I think everybody out there can definitely relate to that, with any kind of problems that they go in through their lives. It's nice and all when people tell you, you know, it'll get better. But some people a little bit more forceful where they're like, get over it, move on. And yeah, eventually that's going to happen, but it's going to happen on your own time, not when people tell you to do it. So I thought that was a nice moment. And then after we cut to Belle and Marlena, and they're having this little moment because Belle is telling Marlena about the divorce with Sean, and Marlena puts on her therapy cap and she starts trying to counsel Belle, and also she mentions to Belle how they're not going to let her come in to see Eric. Now, Belle is definitely a lawyer, so she kind of like slips it in there, like, "Hey, I'm a lawyer. I can go up and see Eric. Maybe I might bring you along." Um, is that proper procedure? I don't know. I'm not familiar with the law system, but as we all know, the laws are different in Salem. Um, so then we cut back to Claire, Belle. I mean, not cut back. I mean, then Belle comes in. Not Belle. Ciara comes in. No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Claire comes in and with Belle and Marlena, and in comes Claire, all being all moody, and here's that word again, emo, um, about just pouting and being all pouty face and poopy face, and of course Marlena and Belle are like, okay, what's going on here? They try to reach out to her, and she's just being very disconnected, very not listening to them. But obviously she wants attention. Obviously she wants them to ask her and what's going on, because she's making it super obvious. And then finally she opens up, and then of course Claire's making it all about her. She's like, well, Ciara's all sad and down because of what happened, and it's making me feel bad. It's like, really? I'm like, Ciara's going through all this and you're worried about yourself. It's like those people that's like, oh my god, why do bad things always happen to me? I mean, it's like, nothing happened to you. I mean, it happened to Ciara. I mean, yes, you're fine that you're worried about it, because she's family, but it's like, why are you trying to make it about you? And and Marlena is trying to like comfort her, and Belle's trying to comfort her, and all this time I'm thinking like, it's not about you, girl. It's not about you. It's about Ciara. Get over it. Be the concerned family member, but stop trying to make it about you. And that whole scene was about you. So it's even fuels my dislike for the Claire character. First of all, she's dull, and now she's trying to make other people's problems about her, how they affect her. And then we move on to Hope and Ciara. We go back to Hope and Ciara, and Hope's finishing up the conversation with her, and then the doorbell rings, and just as I expected, maybe a lot of people thought expected to, that in comes Theo, and he's concerned for Ciara, and what she went through. And again, they don't say anything to Hope about what happened. And Theo comes over as the sweetheart that he is, and he's just trying to comfort her. And he says if she wants to talk about it, she's like, no, because I don't even know if I'm going to sleep tonight, if I'm going to have no sleep, or if I'm going to go to sleep and have nightmares. And Theo's being the sweetheart that he is like, he's like, well, let's watch some movies. I got some 80's movies on my tablet. Let's sit and watch movies, and he tries to be there for her, which is very, very sweet. And again, just fuels my love for this character. And also, so they fall asleep on the couch watching 80's movies, and then we cut to the next morning. And of course, they wake up on the couch, and Abe has been calling him because apparently Abe made plans with him to have dinner that night. I don't even know if Theo confirmed, but he did leave a message. So he runs out, and then Claire starts talking to. I'm sorry, Claire and Ciara. It's the C's. I'm sorry. So Ciara starts talking to Hope about these 80's movies that they're watching, and she mentioned about an 80's movies about a secretary who eventually starts owning her own company and finds love. And in my head, I'm like, I love 80's movies, and I'm trying to think, what movie are they thinking about? And the only one I can think of is 9 to 5. I don't know if I'm correct. I mean, you guys can post it in the comments below, But that's the first one that popped into my head, a secretary finally owning her company in them. And so that's a great movie if anybody wants to check it out. I just showed it to one of my friends the other day because he's like a big Jane Fonda fan, and he didn't even know about this movie, so it was hilarious. So he loved it, so check it out, 9 to 5. Then we move on to Theo and Abe. Theo walks into the police station with Abe, and of course Abe is being all like frowny face and being all in dad mode, and again just giving Theo a hard time. It's like he's just being a hard ass, and I'm like, lay up, Abe. I'm like, what the f is your problem? And Theo is Theo's happy. Let him be happy. It's like, I know I keep on saying that, but it's just like Abe's like, I'm concerned about you and da da da. I mean, like, Hope called you, buddy. I mean, what are you so worried about? She called you. She was fine with it. Why aren't you fine with it? And and also Abe notices the knuckles, Theo's knuckles, and asks him what happened. And Theo kind of like lies to him and tells him that he was like hanging on a banner and he fell off the ladder and scraped his knuckles on the wall. So let's see if how long that story goes before the truth comes out, which I think it's going to come out during prom, obviously, because I think something's going to happen in prom, and then they're going to refer back to like, oh, it all started at this point. And then we cut back to Belle and Claire in the house. And Claire's all distraught again, making all about her. She's like, oh, apparently she got a text or call from her dad and saying that he's not going to be able to make it to prom or not going to be able to see her. And she's like, oh, I want to take a picture with you. I want to take a picture with dad because I have two parents. Wah, wah, wah. And it's like, oh my God, stop it. I mean, everybody in Salem has separated parents. I mean, I don't know what couple has stayed together the whole time. Does anybody know? I don't think anyone who's stayed together the whole time. Everybody's separated at least one time or another. So that was that. Claire's just crying and moving and stuff like that. So I just I got a tweet. Let's see what we have here. It's by Miss Cheaty1, Issa. She says, haven't seen the episode, but heard that Abe wants to stop Theo from seeing Ciara. Why? I don't get it. Yes, I don't get it either. I mean, like, why is that? I mean, we'll move on to that later. We'll go to that storyline, so I'll answer your question about that. So then we move on to Theo, Ciara in school, and Theo's, re-talking to her about prom and what they're gonna do, and how they're how Abe rented a limo for them, and they're gonna pick them up. But the reason why I bring this up is there was a very sweet and tender moment because Ciara's like, I still want to go to prom with you, and she kind of like picks up Theo's hand and she kisses his hand, which I thought was a very touching moment, and it just I so want them to be together, hashtag Ciara, but I just don't want her past to ruin the relationship. And I know Theo's going to be there for her, to comfort for her and be there the man that he is. So I'm really pushing for this couple because they do make a cute couple. And so hashtag Ciara. After the end of this conversation, they cut to the background and there's Mark sitting there all like mysterious, like he overhears this conversation with them, so he's planning something. He's gonna do something at the prom to mess it up, so he's giving them side eye. And then so we cut back to Hope and Abe back at the station, and Abe actually approaches Hope and was like, we need to talk about Ciara. We need to talk about Theo and Ciara, and he voices his concerns with Hope, and he voices concerns about, he doesn't want them to be dating. Abe is just concerned that, Ciara went through this traumatic experience and it's probably going to sometimes affect Theo and he, of course, he's concerned about his son. But, Hope tries to reassure him that, she's talked to Ciara about this and they know that Hope, that Theo is very sensitive. And so, they have their best intentions for Theo. They're looking out for him. But Abe is just being daddy mode, and he's just like being super overprotective. But I hope that doesn't turn into something where he's just going to be like totally step in and break off their relationship. I mean, because that's really bad. I'm not gonna like that if Abe actually does that. And then we go back to the school, and Mark actually approaches Ciara and tries to save face and tries to apologize to Ciara about him being so aggressive and him kissing her and stuff like that. And we all know that he's just bullshitting, but Ciara, I don't know if she's aware of this or not, but she kind of like accepts his apology and just like walks away. She's like, okay, thank you, blah blah blah, walks away. And then again, we cut to Mark, a close up of Mark being, something's going on. That ominous music is playing in the background, so he has a plan that's gonna go down at the prom. What it is, I don't know. They're gonna do a whole Carrie moment? I don't know, but we will see. And then we cut back to the police station, and Rafe is there with Hope, and they're talking. And then he tries to he doesn't try. They do. He pulls her away. They sneak away to a room, and I was like, oh God, no, please don't make it another makeout session. But no, actually, this is a legitimate conversation. He's actually talking to her about how he got some information about Deimos and about his time in jail, and how he had an outside business called Athena Research, and how Athena Research cut a check or hired Dr. Seth Malcolm. Now we all know who Dr. Seth Malcolm is, so that kind of raises a red flag to Rafe, and he wants to tell Hope, like, hey, if we dig deeper, we're going to find out more. This is a great starting off point. But Hope kind of like stops him in his tracks and was told him like, you know what, I'm not going to go through with it. I don't want to get involved. I'm dealing with a lot right now with Ciara, with the move, other things, and so she kind of tells him that she wants to focus on Ciara right now because family comes first. Now, I don't know if this is the truth or is this just a ploy. I don't know. I mean, I would really like to see Hope go after Deimos, but I think the writers are gonna leave that up to Nicole to expose Deimos. I don't know. Maybe it's just too much for Hope right now, but we will see how that goes. And Rafe kind of like accepts it. He's like, okay, I understand that, but we're still having our date tonight. So apparently they're gonna have an 80's date, and we'll talk about that later. Next we come to Marlena, Belle, and Ciara. They're having this little fun moment. Ciara's wearing her ugly 80's prom dress. And they start talking about the 80's and cell phone cameras and blah blah blah. I don't know what the point of this scene was, but it was kind of pointless. But let's move on. So we cut to Ciara and Hope, and it's kind of like the same conversation, but I think here it could have been a great scene, but it wasn't. It kind of fell flat. It was all about Ciara having her prom. She walks down with her ugly prom dress, and then Hope is like talking to her. She's like, oh, well, I have these yearbooks here. We can go through them, and I have my old dresses up in the attic that we can look through, and and so this would have been a perfect moment because even Ciara brings up, she's like, oh, about memories about you and Dad on the motorcycle, about you and Dad and this, and you and Dad and that, and this would have been the perfect time to give us some Bo and Hope flashbacks, but nope, they fell flat. They didn't do that. It would have been a great moment, especially for a Monday. This Monday was kind of boring, and so it would have been perfect. But nope, we didn't get any of that. Thank you, writers, for letting us down once again. And so after that, they find the dress. She comes down. I don't know. I haven't watched Days this long, but I don't know. Maybe the dress that Ciara is wearing that Hope found for her. I mean, have we seen that dress before or something? Is that something that Hope has worn back in the 80's? I don't know. I wasn't watching Days in the 80's. I started watching in the 90's. So, I mean, if you guys know that, leave the comments on the below or tweet me and let me know. That'd be great if someone found a picture of it and put it side by side. That'd be awesome. So Theo comes to the house. She comes with Lonnie and Abe, the whole family, and they start. And Theo looks so handsome in his suit. Again, yes, I know I'm biased to Theo. He's just amazing. His character is just amazing, and so he looks really handsome. And of course, they make a comment about that, and then they have this whole Brady Carver photo shoot, shooting not selfies, but shooting, Ciara and Theo, and Ciara and Lonnie, and Hope and Ciara, and Abe and Theo. So it was kind of cute, but I would have rather cut all of that out and just have Bo and Hope flashbacks. But again, writers let us down. Thank you. So then after that's all over, Rafe comes to Hope's house and to have this whole 80s date and it looks super lame. It's a lame day. He comes in with like some sunglasses and he has a bag saying I got VHS tapes. I mean, does Hope even own a VHS player? Lame, lame, lame. Anyways, and it's just stupid. And then they have this stupid kiss, and I'm just over that. Then we cut to Belle and Marlena, and they're having hashtag mommy moments. They're talking about themselves and the things that they had to go through for love. And Marlena's talking about John, and Belle's talking about Sean, and so it was just a little touching moment, I guess. I mean, it's a Monday again. So the last shot of the episode is Theo and Ciara walking into prom, and Eric, the music's going, people are dancing, and Claire's there with her date, and they start complimenting each other on their dresses, blah blah blah, and then Theo approaches Ciara and saying, I'm gonna promise you that tonight is gonna be the best night ever. Now, if that's not a setup, I don't know what is. Because after that, of course, Mark is in the background. They ominous music again, like, and then they zoom in on Mark, and that's where the episode ends. So obviously, we know something's gonna happen at that prom. So that was the end of the episode, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you for Isa for tweeting me during the show. Maybe next time I can get some more tweets so I can comment, answer some questions for you. You can leave any other comments below. If you guys want to tweet me, you can tweet me at Mr. DOOLigan. If you want to give me some questions during the, on when I'm not taping or throughout the day, you can. I'll put the hashtag right here. You guys, hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. A lot of good things happened this weekend. I'm getting the ball rolling. I'm hoping to improve the show. I got a lot of surprises for you guys. So you guys stay tuned. Again, leave some comments, subscribe, hit like, not like, I don't know, whatever, thumbs down, whatever you like. I appreciate all the feedback. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.